when I was doing the research for that fly book, I was looking in this Mike Vallas tying Catskill Style Dry Flies book a lot, and it reminded me about how great it is. I haven't read it in maybe 3-4 years, I think. It came out in 2009. And one of the cool things about this book is that it like profiles 11 dry flies, and it tells like the history of them, how to tie them, like the variants and everything. It's very cool. And the ones that it has in here, I'll just read them off to you. There's 11 of them. It's Quill Gordon, Red Quill, March Brown, Light Cahill, Pink Lady, Adams, Queen of Waters, Gray Fox variant, the Tops, Brown by Visible, and the Quack. And I thought what would be cool is, since I'm tying a lot of flies for framing, because I don't have any of my flies that are framed hanging up, I think it would be cool to tie these 11 and put them in a frame. I think that would be really cool. So I think that's a project that we'll do for the channel. And we're not going to tie them in a row or anything like that. We'll spread it out. But it's just going to be like a little running series. I have a package of hooks that I'm going to be using for this project. Is this right here? These Alcocks, size 10. These are old hooks, and the size 10, as far as dry flies are concerned, the size 10 for classics is the perfect size. If you want to tie a bunch of flies all one size, I think the 10 is the best, especially for framing, because yeah, okay, you might be able to do it on a 12, but you can't do it on an 8. So I think the 8 is a good coffin size, and that's probably about it. Maybe March Brown, but the size 10 is really the perfect framing size fly. You'll be able to see it, and keeping them all equal is just visually it's going to be good. So if you want to pick up a package of those hooks, you gotta search around a lot, take your time, but you're gonna pay. High end is probably $30. Low end is probably $20, maybe $18 or $19. I think I paid middle of the road $25 for that shipped. But it's 100 hooks, and it's if you just use them for projects like this, they'll last you a long time. Okay, black Giorgio Benici. Now we're gonna do this Quill Gordon Catskill style, which means we're going to have that space in the front. And I can tell you that if I can give you one tip, the one tip is do not tie this wing too far up, because if you do, it's not going to work out for you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Just keep it pretty far back. If this is where the bend is, I may even be too far forward here. Yeah. Should be like a turn or two in front of the middle. Yeah, that's probably good. Okay. Wing. We're doing the wing first. Here is the feather I'm using. And this one you can see. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to link to a video that I did showing all the different ways that you can tie on a wood duck wing. All the modern ways, I guess. The old way is you'd cut off slips on either side. They were really trying to maximize fibers. But we're going to tie this one on just like this. One of the keys is that these tips, you want them to be in line. And just crunch this up pretty good. And then, yeah. And that is all right. one good thing about the way they did it back then, obviously, saving fibers is great, maximizing your feather. But it also, when you cut them off in slips and you put them on like a mallard dry fly wing, they have a separation already that you can see. It just makes it easier to figure eight them. But I mean, if you tie a lot of these things, I haven't tied them in a while, but I used to tie a lot. You get good at seeing where the middle is, and even if you're a fiber or two off, it's not going to matter. You're not going to see it. And now I'm just doing a figure eight. After the figure eight, I'm going to cut this. And now we'll make sure we got some length here, and then we'll lash them together, which means we're just wrapping around just the wing. And I usually do 2. And then I wrap around the back, and then I do 2. That's it. And I think it's upright pretty good. So let's go back now. And this is, since it's a quill body, obviously we got to make sure this thing's smooth. So try and be smart with the turns. Now the tail. The tail is this dark dun. And are we gonna have some long? Are these fibers long enough? Yeah, we'll make it work. Oh, I'm hearing geese. They're coming back. You know what that means. We got spring. Spring is on its way. Let's take a look here. Yeah. That's okay. Now I'm going to tie the quill in right now. So this is a quill that I stripped with bleach, and then I just have it soaking in water. If you soak it in water for a while, like overnight, those any hurls that are left on the quill, they come off really easy. So what you can do is if you strip it with bleach, and then after that you put it in water and you let them soak overnight, if you're going to be using them right away, and you take them out and just run your nail across, you don't have to put them in the bleach for very long. You're just trying to get the bulk of it off. And also, when you're handling these things, make sure your fingers are wet, because if they're dry, you'll just suck the moisture right out of the quill. And then, soaking them, it really is a useless endeavor. Now, the way I tie it on is I tie the thin part in. And I do that so that there's a little bit of a taper. And I also tie it in so that when I turn it up, the black is in front. Now let me look at something here. It's very possible that I need to trim this just a hair. I think I have a little too much tail on here. There we go. You want to make sure when you cut it, it really matches your wing cut. And more so with any other fly, this fly really needs to be smooth. There we go. That's the hackle plier I like to use. I think it's called a teardrop. Black thread, this is the Giorgio Bonici. Black thread is really the way to go when you're doing one of these quill bodies, because especially if you do them like I'm doing them, where you're tying it in the thin part, because then the thread, you can make the thread come through a hair, because the thin part of the quill doesn't have black barring, but you can create that black barring with the black thread if you're good about the turns that you're putting on. You know, you get the exact placement. Okay, now clearly they didn't use UV 100 years ago, but I'm fairly certain they used head cement on bodies like this. So we're just going to use UV, obviously, for time savings. But I'm going to put it on here, not because I'm fishing it, but I do want it to be a little, you know, I want it to be bright. Just got to be very thin with it. That's good. The hackle is another dark dun. And it's from the same exact cape, just so it's matching. Oh, I'm sorry, not cape, neck. Now when you tie this on, make sure you don't tie right up against the fibers. Ooh, twist it a little bit here. And the reason you don't want to do that is because when you make that first turn, if you're up against the fibers, it's going to flare them out. Just want to make sure. Actually, we're just going to double check that this thing is back. That's good. Alright, we're going to use hackle pliers again. And yes, now I want the inside of the feather to the back. Is that what I'm doing here? Yeah. Now, if you look at one of these old Quill Gordons, you know, tied by Theodore Gordon, they're pretty sparse. Now, I'm not going to do them sparse because, again, it's for display, so you need to be able to see something. So I think he only probably used 1 or 2 turns on either side, but I'm going to use a few more than that. Now, before you cut, trim some of these fibers off. I'm going to try and get these fibers out of the way so we don't trap them. And we can always bring them back Pretty upright. And there might be a fiber or two I'll take off before I put it in a frame, but I think this is okay for a frame. I think it's not bad. Yeah, it's all right. I'll take it out for you so you can see the front. That's it. Wings in a good spot, I think. I think it's high enough. It's spread enough. The hackle looks good for sure. And it's got the space. Will you be able to see here that space? Yeah. So the space is there, which is what we want. And I think this should be good. I think this one will be good. Maybe this one will go in frame. We'll see. For now, though, I think it's a good representation. Now, a couple tips I'm going to give you here is that don't make this wing too heavy on this fly. This is not a March Brown. Make it thin, and it's going to allow you to make the body thin. That's an important tip. The next thing is that wherever you think you want to tie on that wing, go back like 3 turns, because I could tell you, you've got to make that space in the front like that. You really need to go. You need to just imagine this is not even there. You got to just start the fly in a completely different area. Other than that, I mean, I think it's not a tough fly. It's just getting that body thin. Using this Georgia thin stuff, you see the red, that red bar, that's the one you want. This is the 12-0 with the strength of like 8-0. This is the best thread going, and it's really good for a fly like this for sure. Something like a March Brown, you don't have to worry about using this. I would use a tan. I would still use a Giorgio Benici, but you could probably use something like this or something. See this? This is called tobacco, and it's like 10-0 with the strength of 6-0. But yeah. All right. So Quill Gordon, 1 of 11. One down, 10 to go. All right. Thanks.